What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. With Season of the Wish, we got the Apotheosis Veil back from the dead, reaching up into the S tier range for exotics, especially for DPS, especially since it's so versatile no matter if you're on Strand, which this video is about, or the other two videos I've put out for Solar as well as Void. So this thing has taken over the end game meta for DPS for sure. This one is spamming threadling grenades, able to unravel several targets as well as create all of those tangles. So we will get into the mods, weapons, and aspects and fragments for this build. But first, let's go over the exotic perk on the Apotheosis Veil called Insatiable right here. Immediately regens health, melee, grenade, and rift energy for you and your nearby allies upon activating your super. After your super ends, temporarily gain greatly increased melee and grenade regen. This is why we can absolutely spam those threadling grenades. Plus we have that threaded needle that we can throw out, and it also does a little bit of damage, severs all of that we talked about, but crazy little perk for this season. Now on this, we got our Solar Strand Duo Siphon with Ashes to Assets as well as Powerful Friends to spread that armor charge around. We're going to be using that armor charge for Grenade Kickstarter with a double bolstering detonation to get back our class ability when we do damage with all of those threadlings. Top of that, we got Concussive Dampener with whatever resistance you want. For me, I was running Void just because of the activity I was going into. Absolution, Recuperation, Orbs of Restoration on our boots for that ability energy as well as a little bit of extra health, with Double Bomber and Reaper on our class item to get our Threadling Grenade back and make even more Orbs of Power. As for weapons on this build, we are going to go with the Scatter Signal Overflow Controlled Burst with boss spec. This thing is crazy for that DPS. Overflow gets us up to 18 shots in the magazine, and then we can use Controlled Burst to just juice that damage. We're going to be using Sunshot because this thing is disgusting, and even better this season because of the artifact mods that we can have on with Cataphract GL, Envious Assassin, Explosive Light. Wish I had bait and switch on this, but this thing is still pretty nuts, especially for those 6-7 explosive light shots that you're getting on the GL. As for this crazy artifact this season, for that Solar and Strand synergy, we're going to be running Unstoppable Hand Cannon for that Sunshot with Fame, Fibo, and Freeze for the Solar and Strand together Siphon. Kindling Trigger, Flint Striker, as well as Torch, all pairing together, so those Radiant Solar Weapon Final Blows or Precision Hits grant us Radiant. Kindling Trigger, well, we are Radiant Solar Weapons, apply Scorch to unscorched combatants. And finally, Torch, while Radiant, we deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by Strand and Stasis debuffs. We're going to be doing Strand debuffs everywhere with this build. On top of that, one of the Strand debuffs that we're getting is Unraveling Rounds. By picking up those Orbs of Power as well as damaging those will create even more Threadlings for us with this build. Now right down here, you also have defeating or breaking the combatant's shield with a Strand weapon that we are using. Has the chance to suspend that target, which is a cool little addition to this build. Last but certainly not least, for this build, we got our Needle Storm with Healing Rift, Strafe Glide, that Arcane Needle, and Threadling Grenades, very important, with the Weaver's Call. When we throw down our Rift, we get 3 Threadlings right then and there. Now for me, some might say that this is the wrong choice, but I personally really enjoy the Wanderer because on those Tangle detonations, we get those Threadlings created and vice versa. Tangles suspend targets, which is super nice in my opinion. People say you could go with Mindspun Invocation, but the way the Apotheosis Veils work, you don't really have time to consume that grenade to get the 5 immediately. So, in my opinion, Mindspun Invocation and the Wanderer, definitely would choose the Wanderer over that. And then, like I said, Weaver's Call for sure. As for Fragments, we're going with Continuity for that Suspend, Unravel, and Sever, because we're creating all of that with this build with Thread of Evolution. So all of those threadings that we're creating with our grenades as well as our super are going to travel farther and deal more damage. With a Thread of Generation, we're getting our grenades back very fast with all the damage we're dealing, and suspended targets grant us class ability energy while we're pairing the Wanderer with that, so we can get back our Rift even faster to use Weaver's Call again and again. So the threadling spam is pretty nuts with this build, and like I said, when you throw down your super, you can just continuously spam those threadlings, which one will do a bunch of damage when we're just on bosses, and they help with ad management when you are dealing with a boss and a lot of ads at one single time. So it is a very effective build. You're able to do a good amount of damage as well, especially with the weapons that we have on this build, even with the Strand synergy of Unravel, getting the Wanderer to throw those tangles and suspend enemies to get our class item back, use your super, and then just spam threadling after threadling after threadling. It is quite the sight to see. So hopefully y'all will like this build. Truly appreciate all y'all coming back to the channel. We're switching it up with our next Warlock video off of the Apotheosis Veil, so be on the lookout for that. One-Eyed Jedi on all of my socials, Discord down in the description as well as the socials, so don't be afraid to join up the channel. Hit that subscribe and like button with the bell so you don't miss out on any builds like this, guides, whatever it may be. So again, truly appreciate all y'all. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.